guys, welcome back to Everyday Struggle from the Crib. Nadeska, Wayno, Akademiks here on a glorious Wednesday morning. What's good, my friends?
Good morning to y'all. I was giving the heads up to crew that basically, you know, because we're recording from home and not in a cozy, nice New York City studio, that real life shit happens at the crib, which means like my landscapers are actually here early and they're kind of going in outside. So, you know what I mean? I told crew we might have to break for a second just because the lawnmower might get too much into the mic.
Yo, Ak, how big is
Keyword.
the landscaping budget?
Right, my landscapers. Keyword.
Well, I mean, listen.
The lies. The lies.
Right.
Listen, we claim everything. There's a community pool, but everybody probably called their own personal pool. They got a place like that. Come on now.
Right.
You never did that? Well, Wayno don't know about that life. We're living with indoor and outdoor pools, you know what I mean? So
the sauna, the hot tub. What a life.
Hey, see?
That's so funny. Y'all are too funny.
How you guys doing, though?
So far, so good. Yo, this weather is fucking incredibly weird. I don't know what... we don't know what day it is. I don't know what month it is either. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's freezing one day, then it's hot outside. I don't know. Yeah,
I looked outside this morning. I've been waiting for, like, a really good, like, conspiracy theorist to, like, link that to the coronavirus, and they haven't yet. I'm kind of disappointed.
Because they're going hard with the 5G conspiracy still. I can't...
Yeah, the 5G shit, we got to dead it.
That was so... Okay? But the people was going so hard with the 5G, and then it just stopped. Like, it just... He just stopped.
Yeah, which, you know, at first I was like, they're crazy, but then I did start looking around. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of construction going on out here. Niggas is inside. What's going on? But again, you know what I mean? Listen, sometimes you need some conspiracy theories to, you know what I mean, help your mind connect some dots, which usually ain't true anyway. But it's,
it's not true at all, but if you say so. So yesterday
and that's how Akademiks runs his business. I'm sorry. That's how he runs his business.
That's a fact.
Starting off tough already.
Yesterday, we ended the show talking about OnlyFans and how much it's grown over the past few weeks since we've been locked down. So we do have a fan question about this.
I thought you were going to say something else. Like,
I finally made my account. I signed up. Check me out.
Oh, no.
Wait on it. Give me one more month in quarantine.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that's
you guys don't know anything about my secret life.
I hope you be on there just giving financial advice. Yo, you know what I mean?
Fans, I would. So, fan question. You guys talked about artists creating OnlyFans account. Wouldn't it be smarter for them to leak and release unreleased songs through an OnlyFans account to make money while they can't tour? Is that an option on there? I still haven't signed up, so I'm not sure.
I don't know if there's like an MP3 aspect, but I do think that would be pretty dope. Like if artists, you know, played, you know, the snippets, you know, on their OnlyFans, like that could be ill in the front.
Yeah, that would be great. I think in terms of like giving or selling the music, I'm pretty sure the labels would really have a big problem with, you know, each individual artist trying to now hustle off the block just because of the quarantine, right? This is the reason why they get advances. However, for independent artists, shit, I mean, Spotify just opened up their service where, you know, you could possibly even have that little like donate to your favorite artist type of thing. I'm pretty sure that's down the pipeline. And also like OnlyFans, again, the stigma around it, I get it. But there's a bunch of other websites not as popular that deals with connecting fans to their favorite entertainer and probably just having a paywall. You know, there's another one that deals with live streaming, which I was wondering why they haven't seized the opportunity to poach a lot of people from IG Live. People on IG Live going crazy, right? You could have those people still interact with their fans. Again, and it could be an addition to IG Live. Because, you know, sometimes people are like, yo, this shit was free. Now we got to pay. Yeah, cool. Watch your IG Live, but if you want like that extra like hour with your favorite like rapper or singer, go pay for it. They're gonna play you exclusive music, tell you some exclusive shit. I'm pretty sure a lot of people do it.
All right, dope. All right, thank you for that question. Good question. So look, a lot of artists are definitely gearing up to drop projects while we're still inside, you know, pandemic or no pandemic, and it looks like Joey Badass is getting ready to drop his next album in about 6 months. So he spoke to Complex recently. And we've spoken a lot about the lengths of albums here. Some artists just pad it with filler tracks just for streaming numbers. Some people do like to keep it concise. So Joey very specifically says he hates when artists put out an album longer than 14 songs. He says nobody wants to listen to that. Nobody's getting through that in a day. He doesn't care if it's Michael Jackson. He says, I'm not listening to 25 songs. Less is more, in my opinion. Do you guys agree with Joey here? Anything over 14 is just too much, or does it depend on the artist?
He was clearly sneak dissing Chris Brown. Come on, man. Like, everybody know Chris Brown is the 65 track album guy, and now I'm playing about that. But honestly, like, to keep it, I don't think he's tripping at all. You know, I do think the thought of making your album concise, or making what you have to say on the album concise, also having throwaways and not including them on projects. Like, I felt since the streaming era came in, throwaways don't exist. Everything's on streaming services. I mean, Drake just dropped an album full of throwaways. There was a time where, okay, fine, I get what you're saying with some of the numbers. And yes, 14, the real sweet spot, if you ask me, I'll probably say like it's, no. Actually, I'll probably say sometimes it's like 15, 16. I remember many albums I like have 15, 16, and maybe have 2 bonus tracks that maybe the single or like the old singles or whatever, right? But that's around the sweet spot. So it could be anywhere from even 14 all the way to about like 18 or so. But that number isn't that big of a deal. I think what he's really trying to convey, which I think we all agree, is like the art of having records that don't come out, or throwaways, or not just trying to monetize everything, and also this approach to streaming where it says, hey, the more you put on the album, the higher your streaming number is likely to be, because there's going to be more things for your fans to stream. I think it fucks up the whole model of just trying to create good art. Shit. I mean,
depends on the artist.
Even think about.
Nah, it depends on the artist, bro. I mean,
and I'm gonna let you answer this, but even think about like in recent times, like name me a few albums that have gone past that 20 track mark that you'd be like, yo, shit, that shit was solid all the way through, and you didn't even stop and think to say, and we gotta exclude any skits, right? You didn't stop and say, man, we could have done without these couple joints. These joints felt like, you know what I mean, like fillers. I mean, even like.
Well, he specified a number. He didn't say 20. He said 14. So let's stay around 15.
Over 14.
I mean,
but having a particular number. Well, again, I said I'm not agreeing with the 14. I'm agreeing in principle that his number is derived probably from the thought that there aren't throwaways anymore, and people are putting a lot of fillers on their albums just to boost and bump streaming numbers.
Yeah,
you
but
get me?
I mean, I get that, but I think that there's also a certain class of artists when we're saying that. You know what I mean? Like you said, you joked about, Chris Brown is a certain class of artists that specifically do that. Now, nobody's questioning. My fault. Go ahead, Nadeska.
Sorry, no, I was going to say probably also frequency of release, right? Like if someone like Kendrick that we haven't heard from in 3 years comes with 20 songs, I doubt anyone's going to be complaining. But if it's an artist like The Baby who's dropping at this point, it feels like every 6 months, then do you guys want 20 songs from him on every album, you know? Even if it's a good artist.
I mean, it depends. I feel like it depends on where the music is going. Like The Baby, I think he only did 13 on this last one. And to me, I like this album better than the one before. But he doesn't really do like 20. I'm thinking about like, all right, J. Cole, I think KOD was like 18. You know, like that was like 18, but he doesn't frequently drop. The Dreamville album was like 20 records. Even though it's a compilation, it's still 20 records. And then they did the part 2 that was like another 13 or 14 or something like that. So I don't know. I think it's particular to the artist. Now, I do know that, you don't want to hear somebody rapping for 20 songs if it's not good. But if it's good, I don't give a fuck. Cameron's last album was like 16, 17. You know, Purple Haze too.
Frequency definitely also matters. And again, for some of these people, like what an album has become isn't like the word album, mixtape, project, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is so ambiguous these days that like people just throw everything on it. Like, for example, right? Everyone's praising this new Young Thug album. Yo, this shit's great. Yo, Thug stepped it up. No, Thug's been putting out music like this. The curation of how he selected the tracks was horrible. Which
one? The Chris Brown one or the?
No, not the one with Chris Brown. The
So
one
Much Fun?
before. I'm talking about So Much Fun. So Much Fun. Which everyone's like, oh my God, give it a Grammy. Like everyone acted like Thug just went to some magical level. No, you know what actually happened? First of all, he stopped featuring like his brother and sister and mom on the records, like respectfully, because he has done that before. And he also fine-tuned the tracks he picked for the album. He didn't just put out everything. Slime Season 1, Slime Season 2. I remember listening to these projects and say, yo, you got like 5 joints on there that are fire. And then the rest of the shit I'm just listening through. And if you add up, and I remember the time span in which he dropped those in, it was like a 1 to 2 year time span. I could have made damn near a classic album if I was to pick from those songs.
Okay,
right?
But you're speaking from your perspective, not his core fan base's perspective. As a person,
No, they feel the same.
His whole
About
fan
that,
base
they
feel the same.
About those projects and how much fillers and tracks that are basically like like everyone kept saying, yo, his debut album, if he had saved certain songs from those tapes, would be fucking amazing.
But do you? But is that a part? Is that a part of his growth? Like, I mean, we both speaking, just out of speculation. Mm-hmm. Do you think that may be a part of his growth process? That it's not just that he had it all figured out back then. I mean, that's easy to say. Hindsight is 20/20. It's easy to look back and say, yo, if he'd used this song, or even with Drake, you could say if he would use this song for that, use that song for this would be better. But don't you think that that's a part of their growth process as an artist?
I mean, isn't that also part of having a good executive producer? Remember Leo Kono used to tell Thug, he would drop all these random songs or just like random kids floating around that he wouldn't take care of. He wouldn't push them or put them on a real compilation. And then I think it seems like working with Cole on this project helps. So sometimes maybe it's just good to also have the right EP to help you just keep things cohesive and more concise.
And by the way, to a little bit give a little strength to my man Joey Badass's point, I got to bring up, my little bromance with Orbs, since everybody's running with it. His next project, he says he feels like the perfect fit because he got criticism for Scorpion. He tried to please everybody. You can't please all these niggas. Like, these niggas tell you what they want. You give them what they claim they want, then they say they don't want it, right? It's like kids. So what happens is he went back in his discography and said, yo, he liked the length of like Nothing Was the Same. I believe that was about like 14, 15 tracks or around that region. Mm-hmm. And he felt like that's the proper length. And that is a length that people won't get bored. And also he could just select the right amount of tracks. Mm-hmm. Again, it might be personal to everybody because you're right. If Kendrick drops 45 tracks right now and says, this is the shit I've been working on, niggas will be bumping. But what I'm saying is, for the most part, we're talking in general, not that one-off Kendrick who, like, we haven't literally seen him in ever.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, look, so Joey also touched on something else interesting during that interview. I feel like most artists over the course of their career, at some point, they're going to feel underrated. And at some point, if they hit a certain level of success, they might feel overrated. I don't know if any artist ever feels sort of satisfied and universally loved enough, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So Joey weighed in on this and he said, I'd rather be underrated than overrated because that means I always have a place to get to. He said it's basically social currency. So that's one of the main aspects of virality and marketing agenda. He says basically people want to feel as if they're empowering you with something. So like if someone could still put you on to Joey Badass, it's exciting. If you can't put somebody on, there's no social value. So that's why he thinks being underrated is good. Would you guys agree?
I think that's a good perspective, but I don't think that Joey Badass is underrated. I think that like he just looked at a certain way depending on what crowd you're talking to. Like if I've been to his concerts, I ain't being underrated. I mean, that's not being underrated. You know what I mean? Like having 2,000 or 3,000 people singing your shit word for word is not being underrated. I think that like his acceptance, how people accept his music or who they compare him to, that's a whole different conversation. I think that he's put out of those types of conversations. Like we don't bring up Joey Badass as far as King of New York and none of those talks, but I don't think that's his mission anyway. But I think that's a real good perspective, but I don't think he's underrated at all. His skill is there, his success is there. It's just, from a publicity standpoint, you don't see him as much. And I don't think that's a bad thing for him.
Is there such a thing as like just we never hear like, yo, this person just fairly rated, which
means
that's
they're rated
exactly what the fuck they are, right? It's usually under or over. Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I don't think it's good to be underrated because at first I believe that does give you a lot of drive and motivation, try to prove people wrong, try to get to a place that you feel like you're getting the credit where you deserve. But I do believe that over time, especially when you become a veteran artist and you're quote unquote still underrated, that kind of turns into a little bit of resentment, a little bit of bitterness, because now your talents literally aren't being respected and recognized. I do think at a certain point, you hit that little marker where, you start getting overrated because now everyone jumps on the bandwagon. But I would imagine that feels much better, right, than just being underrated. However, here's the thing too, and I think Joey was alluding to this as well. When you're underrated, people are rooting for you to win. When you're quote unquote overrated, it's like, yo, this motherfucker, like, it's a constant reminder, like, whatever you do isn't good enough. Because again, they have you set to a standard that to be honest, like, you may have not achieved it or you can achieve.
I always think about Drake in this overrated, underrated conversation. Do you ever feel like there's been a point in his career where he's felt fairly rated, to quote you?
I think now he does. I think this is the moment he feels like fairly rated. You know, shit. Like, even through conversations, I could tell that, like, he feels that. I feel like there was a time he felt like, you know, he was that new wave, and you know, critics, and especially in the media, like, there's a lot of people who grew up with a lot of different, you know, artists, that they thought it was just sacrilegious to even have his name in conversations with certain other artists that he looked up to. And I think now, just being in the conversation, like, I think that makes him rated whatever, because it's always gonna be a subjective conversation. It'll never be like, I might come here and be like, yo, he's a GOAT, but Wayno will definitely have an argument if he's like, nigga, are you dumb? Like, it was Jay. And just being in that conversation being legit, I think that's him being fairly rated, and you can't be mad at it. So I would say now, as opposed to any other time.
I mean, specifically for him, I think that the GOAT shit, like, it changes over time. Like, I think that, you know, like, you have GOAT, the GOAT is of the generation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's never going to be just one person that's the greatest amongst any and everybody ever. Because for a long time, I felt like Jay wasn't near Biggie. Like, couldn't touch Biggie for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And then after time passed, I'm like, yeah, you know, if Biggie would have lived, he would have had it for a little bit. Then Jay had it. Then I feel like Wayne had that mantle too. I think Drake does get that. Like, he should get that because he's the top guy of this generation. Like, if you're a child right now, if you're 10 years old, 10 years from now when you're 20, you're going to remember him being the biggest shit when your children, when you're 20 and in your 20s, is going to be like, I don't listen to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's going to change to somebody else. Like, it's always an interchangeable conversation, but I think that the GOAT shit goes by generation.
That definitely makes sense.
Usually underrated is that title of underrated is linked to a lot of artists that initially haven't gotten that breakout single that the masses could get a look at them, right? So it's like they're in their little small cult demographic, and the demographic themselves are saying, damn, yo, you deserve for everybody to see your talent or witness what's going on. And after that, they could choose to see if you are or not.
Okay. All right, y'all. So today, for Big Facts or BS, we have LeBron James for the first time. So a fan tweeted recently that Lil Baby is the youngest MVP since Derrick Rose. He said he's special, and LeBron responded to that fan saying, "Facts 1000%." No, we're all big Lil Baby fans. Do you agree?
Akademiks.
Want to go first? I do agree. You know, like, I think it's interesting how the conversation, you know, especially with these new rappers and especially Lil Baby, is happening because, you know, of course we see the LeBron co-sign, but I think generally everybody kind of accepts Baby, and Baby is, a couple years ago, I think they'd call Baby a mumble rapper. Now.
Yeah, people did call him mumble, but there's a few people I know that called him a mumble rapper. So yeah.
Okay, and basically not off because it's calling someone a mumble rapper sometimes isn't even like the fact that they ain't saying shit. It's kind of like, yo, the slurring, the auto-tune sometimes on your voice. Like, sometimes people are like, yo, fuck that's not lyrical or whatever. I think Baby is earning his stripes, and he's putting in work on every verse, every song. And to be honest, man, other than the people like Corday, we aren't seeing people do that on a, yo, I'm going to rap really well and make hits level. And that reminds us, you know, shit of always, like, you know, the legendary run that even Wayne went on, and other people that's held that MVP status for a while. You get me?
Right. I think I wouldn't want to call him like rookie of the year again. I would just say that he's grown. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he's just growing, and that's what happens. Is like, you know, I don't hear people talk about the sophomore slump no more. You know what I mean? It used to be like, you know, the first album is crazy or hard, then the second album we gonna see what happens. People don't talk about that no more, and I don't think we regurgitate that year again. I think that it's like, okay, Baby's getting better, and I think he's gonna keep getting better because he's understanding. When we had him on the show, it seems like he understands his place, and like the embracement from a Lil Wayne, the endorsements from Drake, as far as like people saying, yo, that's the guy. 5 years from now, we might be having a conversation if he's this generation's GOAT. You know, and I think that he keeps growing. That's the thing about it. It's not him just being the rookie of the year once again. You know, because he's been in for 4 years now.
Well, LeBron, the tweet he co-signed said MVP.
MVP.
Do you think he's on? He's doing MVP like shit in terms of, you know. I mean, right now I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he's kind of carrying QC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think the Migos figuring out what they're doing. You know, I think Yachty did some good with Oprah's bank account. We're gonna see how he's gonna come back, but he's been hot and cold during the years. I think Lil Baby right now, he got the baton like Usain Bolt pretty much on the anchor leg.
Yeah, but I also attribute that to, like, I don't think, like, when the Migos did all those solo albums, I think that it was just like a thing for them to do. I don't think that, like, a lot of these albums was really thought out as far as, like, the direction he was gonna go other than Offset. You know what I mean? Like, I think Offset was the only one that kind of had a mission, a perspective of where he was gonna attack his music. The other ones was just them putting out shit that they thought everybody wanted to hear. Now with Baby, yeah, I do think that Baby definitely leading the charge of QC, but the Migos still Amigos. You know what I mean? Like
you're right.
They Voltron. They better when they form. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when they come back, that's another thing. But I think that's very telling about who Baby is well, because for him to be a one-man show, he holds shit down crazy by himself. You know,
you guys feel like you guys feel like Migos need to drop this year? Or can they just chill, wait till 2021?
I think that they need to drop this year, but it kind of goes back to the conversation we was having before about, and what Axe said about it being like Travis Scott. He's like, yo, I love Travis Scott, but I need to see his shit live. Like, I need to see him moving. I need to see him doing shit. I think, like, for the Migos, it's almost the same thing. Like, yeah, it's cool. I like that they starting to, the Taco Tuesday. Why it's not the fucking greatest song I've ever heard from them. I think that it's good for them to create a wave while everybody's in the house. But I need to see the Migos moving. I need, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to see them in full form. And I want them to come out, but not if they can't come outside.
Yeah, and I'll take it off the Migos for a second. But in terms of what LeBron co-signed in terms of him being the youngest MVP, let's look at other people who we would consider even in the running. And I do believe it, and so I'm co-signing this point that he has separated himself from these people when maybe 6 to 8 months ago, or maybe even a year ago, we would probably say he's in the mix. And I'm talking about the Roddy Riches. I'm talking about the Babies. I'm talking about Meg Thee Stallion. I'm talking about a lot of these other young artists who I feel like.
Roddy Rich might have to enter the chat. I don't know. Roddy Rich might have to enter the chat.
Wait. Let me relate it to basketball, because sometimes that's the way of Wayne. It's like yeah, all of them went to the rookie and sophomore game at the All-Star game, but only one guy is starting on the All-Star team, and that's Lil Baby. You feel me? So I'm saying they're all good in their own rights, but it's only one that I feel like they're competing not among the new guys anymore. They're competing literally with the top guys who have been doing it in rap for the last 5 years. And I think that's Lil Baby. Of course, Roddy Ricch did deliver a great body of work. The Box did phenomenal, but I'm analyzing a little bit more than that. Bar for bar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You analyze him rapping, right? To your point, I think like he's become a better rapper, and that's what kind of took him out of the mumble class, or what people try to classify him as. That's what took him out of just being another guy on QC, because he could have easily just been another guy that everybody's like, oh, they signing everybody, right? His rapping is what's getting him his respect, you know what I mean? And I think like that's the greatest part of it. But yeah, he definitely got some competition out there. But I think he is on his way. I mean, I think that nigga is on his way. It's to the point where like he got rewindable bars. Like, you're not rewinding his record just for the beat. You're rewinding it for what he said. So.
All right, so that was big facts from LeBron then, basically.
Yeah.
In summary, all right, yo.
LeBron a hip hop head, man. We gotta get LeBron on the show. I feel like he would have some dangerous, maybe not dangerous hot takes.
Right.
All right, so real quick before we go, because we're almost out of time, just to wrap up this conversation we started yesterday when we were talking about this whole King of New York thing again, and sort of 6ix9ine's place in this landscape. Him and 50 were cool before, so 50 did an interview with Big Boy's Neighborhood, and at some point in it, he says that he would not work with 6ix9ine, quote, "It's just against the way I grew up." I know, Ak, you said you feel like a lot of people are going to jump out the gate and be ready to work with him for publicity, but are you surprised to hear that 50 feels this way?
I love 50, and I do believe he's definitely a street dude who stands on morals. He's definitely one who stands on morals. He'll be for the nigga forever over the smallest thing. So I definitely believe that. I do believe that 50 is a businessman, though. While he might never do music with 6ix9ine, stand next to him, if working with him includes 50 doing a documentary on what happened, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. I see 50 doing that. So in that case, I would see him working with him in terms of ever being as close to him as he used to be. You know, he used to go to 50's office. 50 used to bring him around to New York City to a lot of clubs that he was banned from being in. You know, kind of showing the ropes a little bit. I don't think 50 would be associated with that. Also, you got to realize that 50's had a very interesting history as well, especially when it comes to Ja Rule. People saying certain things about him and trying to get at his character. Trust me, he ain't going near 6ix9ine at all, at least given the current circumstances, all right? But for everybody else, watch. 6ix9ine announced he's going live Friday. You're going to see a lot of motherfuckers surprised to be... You're gonna be surprised by those check marks in the like live chat asking to, like, yo, I requested you. Add me in. Trust me. Watch.
Well, good thing I know is that you won't see no DMs from me saying, hey, 6ix9ine, you home now. You know, I'm trying to manage you, my nigga. What's good? You ain't gonna see none of that from me.
Wayno?
Oh, you know, Wayno ain't doing none of that. I look like a rabbit today. This is kind of funny. I look like a rabbit with this.
Yo, he could get on Triangle Office and go crazy.
I'm cool. You know what I mean?
Wayno can help with the academics.
Cool. I don't want no parts of that. No parts of that for me.
It's going to be really interesting. I think it's gut check time for everybody. You know, I think everybody got to make those like, you know, the first rapper who's going to like work with him, if you ask me, is going to be Tory. I think Tory is the one who skates that line where, like, you know, you respect him enough on all different fronts, but he's not the guy who, like...
Oh, guidelines.
He's going to jump out. I think again, yo, it's completely naive if we all sit here and believe that no rapper, no singer, no one in the music industry is going to embrace him or whatever. And everyone's just going to stand back and watch him afar. Trust me, this is the music industry. People sell their mama to get hot. Some people. I see some people, you know, trying to, you know, explain away what he did to rationalize why they're around him or why they're doing music with him. Yeah. And I understand. This is business.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope I'm not disappointed by none of the people I hope don't take that stance, but cool.
You just got to keep your expectations
low.
Would
you judge Wayno?
Judge who?
Whoever. It doesn't matter who. Anybody
Oh, absolutely.
One of your favorite street rappers, they talking all that shit.
No, absolutely, my nigga. Absolutely. And I'm not jacking no nigga who talk. If you, my thing is this, right? You got music and then you have your morals. And yeah, of course, it is a business and all of that. I'm just saying, if it's an artist that raps about how they don't fuck with snitches or this, that, and third, and they stand on certain stuff, and then they double back and go do a song with them, of course I'm judging them niggas. God is not your only judge. I definitely judge you all the time. You know what I mean? Like we'll definitely see how this goes.
Okay.
All right, let me give you another example.
Hey, we're out of time. Wrap it up, man.
I know, man. We miss our hours. I know I can't take it.
All right.
Real quick. Come on, real quick.
Just say Richard Kidd. Richard Kidd does a song with him. Do you kind of judge him? Because he doesn't really rap. He raps about fly shit. He might throw in a little line about doing some shit, but he raps about fly shit. Do you judge him, or you be like, yo, man, I judge
Rich the Kid because he's tapped it. Like, just because Rich the Kid don't strike me as a person that's running down and doing shit in the streets. Listen, the streets, everybody from the streets is not a criminal. You know what I mean? Everybody that's in the streets is not a criminal. You don't have to be in the streets to have certain types of morals and values. So I think that, like, if Rich the Kid did do that, yeah, I would judge him because he doesn't represent what 6ix9ine represents. So if he chooses to do it, by all means, he's a man. I'm not his manager. I'm not his friend. He got to do what he got to do for himself. But I would definitely look at him with a side eye, I bet.
Okay, so Aki said he's going live on Friday.
All
right, so we can expect
us all the clues. You see this? He's giving us all the clues to the rappers. He knows what's going on already.
Hold on.
He knows.
And by the way, my last thing. Wayno, he said check your DMs. He accepts your 40% management.
You're not gonna play like that.
Don't start those rumors.
You're not gonna play with me like that.
Yo, wrap it up. We gotta go. Right, we gotta go. Oh, I missed the hour. I missed the hour so much.
Oh man. All right, guys. We'll see what happens on Friday. In the meantime, thank you for watching Everyday Struggle. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time. Be good.